Okay.
Being ignorant is not so much a shame as being willing to learn. This is by a quote by Benjamin Franklin. Today I want to clarify for you the misconceptions of Islam in American society. After 9/11, I've noticed for the past few years that in our society, people tend to make misconceptions about what Islam teaches and tend to make those based on what they see in the media and how the media portrays Islam. I'm pretty sure that somewhere in our life after the 9/11 attack, you or someone you may know have said or heard in the public about the religion of Islam and what it teaches. For example, some say Islam teaches terrorism and women are oppressed in the religion. Are just some of the common misconceptions that people share their opinions about, but without really having an establishment of a foundation of knowledge about the religion, but rather based on what is heard either through word of mouth or the media. So today, my goal is to clarify and inform the best of my knowledge and research about these common misconceptions of Islam. I'll be informing you about the diversity of Islam and illustrate that Muslims are not just practiced by Arabs, as well as raise awareness to the fact that Islam does not oppress women and Islam does not teach terrorism. Odds are that somewhere in our life after the 9/11 attacks, you or someone you may know or have heard in the public media have used the word terrorist to describe anyone who's from the Middle East or of Arab descent, a man who's wearing a shawl on their heads and assuming that it's terrorist attire, therefore a Muslim terrorist. And all just based on their outer appearance, not really knowing the individual. Am I right? This is called racial profiling. In other words, taking a race, ethnicity, and profiling their characteristics, rather getting to know who they are and judging them based on their own individual characteristics. The first thing that I would like to clarify for you is that there's a diverse group of people practicing Islam, not just Arabs, as well as that all Arabs are Muslims, and there are Christian Arabs as well. According to Jannah.org, the followers of Islam are called Muslims. Muslims come from all races, nationalities, and cultures across the globe. They may be Arabs, Turks, Persians, Indians, Pakistanis, Malaysians, Indonesians, Europeans, Africans, Americans, Chinese, or any other nationality. They all have varied languages, food, dresses, traditions, cultures, and customs, yet they all consider themselves Muslims. 1 out of 5 people in the world are Muslim, and Arab Muslims constitute about 20% of the Muslim population of the world. It is important to note that not all Arabs are Muslims, and not all Muslims are Arabs. 20% of all Muslims are found in sub-Saharan Africa. The most populous Muslims are found in the substantial parts of Asia, and the most populous Muslim nation is in Indonesia. Substantial parts of Asia, almost all Central Asian republics are Muslim. Significant minorities are found in China, India, Russia, Europe, North America, and South America. There's a wide array of diversity in Islam, and Islam teaches to be tolerant of one another. So the misconceptions that Muslims are only from the Middle East are just practiced by Arabs is false. As the diversity in Islam is clarified, so must the common misconception that Islam oppresses women. Islam teaches that both men and women have rights, not just men. As stated in Jannah.org, according to the Quran, men and women are equal before God, both created for the sole purpose of worshiping God through faith and good deeds. Islam means peace, and this is achieved when a person focuses on God, giving his or her entire mind, heart, and soul to none other than the Creator. This liberates him or her from human subjugation, replacing fear with self-respect, weakness, restraint, and conflict with tranquility. Muslim men and women are thus both enjoined to dress modestly, called a hijab for women. And the hijab is pretty much like a shawl they cover their head and they wear loose clothing. It's pretty much covering the body in loose, non-transparent clothing. Islam has no fixed standard as to style, dress type, or type of clothing that Muslims must wear, and this varies across regions depending on cultures. This allows Muslims to focus on higher pursuits and encourages respectful interaction between the genders. Now that we have clarified that Islam does not teach oppression of women, we shall carry on the next point that Islam does not teach terrorism. According to Karen Armstrong from the Time magazine, Islam is is not addicted to war, and jihad is not one of its pillars or essential practices. The primary meaning of the word jihad is not holy war, but struggle. It refers to the difficult effort that is needed to put God's will into practice at every level, personal and social, as well as political. A very important and much quoted tradition as Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, telling his companions as they go home after the battle. Quote, "We are returning from the lesser jihad, the battle, to the greater jihad, the far more urgent and momentous task of extirpating wrongdoing from one's own society and one's own heart." Islam does not impose itself by the sword. In a statement in which the Arabic is extremely emphatic, the Quran insists there must be no coercion in matters of faith, chapter 2, part 256. Constantly, Muslims are enjoined to respect Jews and Christians, the people of the book, who worship the same God, chapter 29, part 46. In words quoted by Muhammad in one of his last public sermons, God tells all human beings, "O people, we have formed you into nations and tribes so that you may know one another," part 49:13. Not to conquer, convert, or subjugate, revile, or slaughter, but to reach out towards others with intelligence and understanding. Islam means submission to God, and the way Muslims greet each other and say bye to each other is by saying Salam Alaikum, meaning peace. It is also following the teaching of the Gospel and the Torah. It also promotes tolerance, diversity, the respects of other religions and other peoples. It's very, very diverse. I hope today that my goal to clarify and inform you about these common misconceptions of Islam has left you with a bit more understanding of the religion, and clarifies for you about the diversity of Islam and illustrates that Muslims are not just practiced by Arabs, as well as raise awareness to the fact that Islam does not oppress women, and Islam does not teach terrorism. As you can see, this is the main problem in our society for understanding the religion of Islam has been misinterpreted, and these misconceptions of what society receives Islam with little or no understanding are none other than misconceptions, and not what the religion represents or teaches. So I say to you all, peace, love, one struggle.
All right, Joshua, what do you got for us?
I thought you identified the thesis really well. I liked the examples in the beginning. I appreciated the outline of what was coming in the speech, and it showed a clear organization and the process. We could tell the passion about the subject, and I like the challenging the popular ideals of the general population, but at the same time you weren't abrasive. So even though you were challenging ideals, you weren't accusatory in any way. I didn't feel offended, like I could have. You read off the paper slightly and only glanced at the audience every once in a while as you're finishing the sentence, and like you were reading it so you already knew what the sentence was, so you glance up. So you should be the other way around and only glance at the paper every so often. You spoke a bit fast, but you did have a lot of material to cover, so I can understand that. But overall, I'm good. Good job. That's all I have to say about that.
All right. I'd echo a lot of those comments. I thought that you set it up very nicely. There's a good organization. I like the references to the sections of the Quran that have these injunctions about what the religious standards are. I appreciated your inclusion of that in the presentation. I think you needed to cite some of the material on the diversity of Muslims in the world. I don't doubt that the information is accurate. Just occasionally, that you get it from the Encyclopedia Britannica or whatever source it is, you might want to mention that. Like I said, I expect that there's nothing controversial about any of that. I don't think that's a problem. The visual materials don't add that much to the presentation. You have the opening picture where you are trying to explain how people have conflated Islam with Arabs, and that they are not the same thing. So I can kind of see a little bit of reference to that. And then later on there's a reference to the, how do you say it, hijab? Okay. it seemed to me like the image came after you were done talking about it, so it's just one of those things about